Hi everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie's Cards here for Bawsome Stamps today, and I am back using my mandala stamp set again. I wanted to try out a different technique today. So here is this gorgeous stamp set. It is so beautiful and I have so many ideas for using it. I really wanted to try something out. So I have some Bristol smooth cardstock here, which I have cut to 5.5 by 5.5 inches, which is larger than my mandala stamp set, which measures about 5 inches across. So I am prepping this with plenty of powder from my powder tool, and I'm going to stamp my image out with Versamark ink. So this is a sticky clear ink which will work well with the embossing powder that I am going to be using next. So I'm going to stamp this out a couple of times now. I always get very nervous about doing this. I worry that I'm going to miss parts of the stamp off. I worry that it's going to shift slightly and smudge. But I just wanted to make sure that I had a really nice, firm, clear impression on that cardstock. It's very difficult to see until you have added the embossing powder as to where the ink is, but I'm praying for the best, hoping for the best. So here is my white heat embossing powder. I'm tipping that all over. I have it in this little container, and then I just kind of have this little tidy tray here which I use to catch all the excess. I'm just flicking the back ever so slightly, and hopefully there you can see that it actually turned out really well. I'm impressed. It doesn't always go to plan with me and embossing powders, but today was going my way. So what I like to do is just blast the back with my heat tool a little bit to try and get the embossing powder to start melting and make sure it doesn't fly everywhere when I heat the front. And then I will go in and go all over the front and really take my time with it. I did go back a few times off camera just to catch some other little pieces that I felt needed extra heat. So now I'm going to do some ink blending over the top, which is kind of the fun part because it's where everything kind of reveals itself. So I'm starting off with Concord and 9th Honeysuckle ink, and I'm going in with a blending foam to the center of that mandala, and you can see it comes to life when you add this color. So I decided to try and do a bit of a rainbow, but a softer rainbow today. So my next ink is Grapefruit, and I'm going in with a blending brush now. I thought this was a little bit easier and a little bit better to control where I was putting it and make sure that I wasn't putting too much ink down. I want it to be quite soft and not too dark. So going all the way around it with that, and you will see that I'm quite happy. There are some patches that are lighter, some that are darker. I kind of like that textured look. Next up for my yellow, I have Buttercup. And again, I'm just following the same process, kind of going over the edge of the piece that I've just inked and blending a little bit further out each time to create that pattern. Next up, I have my green, which is Parsley ink. Oh, sorry, my orange. Going back in with my orange again, just to darken that up a little bit and create that contrast between the two colors. Then I will bring my green, which will be Parsley ink. And again, doing the same process. I'm nearly at the edge of my mandala now, but I'm just going to go all the way around again and just add it out a little bit further. This is a nice soft green, and I think it works well with that yellow that I've just used. I will go back and forth between my colors a little bit here because I definitely want that definition between the two colors. So I'm going all the way around the edge with this green, and then I will go back in with that yellow again just to brighten that up in certain places and make sure that you get that kind of contrast between the colors, whilst also making sure that they kind of blend in together as well. You don't want a really kind of obvious line as to where one color starts and the other begins, but I just wanted to make sure all my colors were nice and bright and well represented. Now I had a little bit of white space left, so I decided to pull in a kind of bluish shade, which I've gone with Aqua Sky, and I'm just going to finish off all the way around the edge. Now this is a very, very subtle blue, and I think I probably need a re-inker for this one because it's looking a little bit dry, but I managed to get a little bit of color out there and just go around the edges, and I think it just works nicely. As I say, I was going for quite a soft rainbow palette today. I just really wanted to try this technique out. It's not a technique that I'm overly comfortable with doing. As I say, I always get a bit nervous about doing the whole heat embossing business and worried that it's not going to go to plan, but I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out, and it was a lot of fun to try out. So once all of my ink blending was done, I just took a dry paper towel and buffed over the top so that I still get that nice white detail from my heat embossing. I trimmed this down so that it measures 5 inches by 5 inches, which is right toward the edge of that mandala. And I'm backing it onto a piece of bright pink cardstock which kind of matches that pink shade that I've used in the middle of my mandala, that pink ink. It just leaves a little kind of 1/8 inch of a border all the way around the edge. And once that is secured down, I'm going to take this sentiment which says "Feel Better Soon," which I have stamped onto that same pink cardstock with some white heat embossing powder so that everything kind of matches. And I'm just going to glue that down into the bottom right hand corner of my card panel. All that's left to do is to mount this onto a card base. So I've made my card base 5.5 inches square, and I'm going to mount this on top, and it will leave a nice little border all the way around. Again, about 1/4 inch border all the way around. And I just thought that this was a really lovely, quite simple card to put together, and definitely trying out some new techniques to me, and I really enjoyed making it. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. Please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you come back again. And please do leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And I do try and respond to all the comments that are left on my channel. Thank you so much for watching today. Take care. Bye.